receiving the word of the Lord. And we thank God for this new opportunity of receiving the word of the Lord. God is known in the Old Testament as the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. But Jacob had to fight to be part of that trilogy. That trilogy that became the base and foundation of Israel, the chosen people of God. That's why today we're going to talk about being anointed to fight till dawn for God's blessings. But every story has a beginning. So we should start with having a summary of the life of Jacob and how Jacob became one part of that trilogy that, as I said before, became the base and foundation of Israel, the people, the chosen people of God. Jacob was conceived by his parents, Isaac and Rebekah, with his brother Esau. In other words, they were twin brothers, and they fought with each other from the mother's womb. So at that moment, there was a fight between them. And that marked the life of Jacob. At the time of the labor, Esau was the first to be born. And then Jacob was born, his hand grabbing his brother's heel. That's why that's the reason of the meaning of the name Jacob. The name Jacob means to take by the heel and to receive or supplant. So his name marked his life. At the time, Esau was or became Isaac's favorite son. So Jacob was to fight for the attention of his father. As if not in all the cases, in many cases, the boys have to fight for the attention of their fathers. It was the case of Jacob. And at the time, Jacob was preparing lentil stew. And Esau came from work and was very tired and was very hungry. And he asked Jacob for some of that lentil stew. And Jacob told him, there's a problem. I will give you some of this too, but you have to give me your birthright. You have to give me your birthright. That at that time, and at the time of the Old Testament, and even today, in the Jewish culture, is very important for a man. But Esau despised that privilege and that blessing for some lentil stew. And in that way, Jacob started his way to be the one who will receive the blessing of God. But at that time, he didn't receive it the way we can think it was the right way. Later, Isaac became old and blind. And with Rebekah's help, Jacob made Isaac think he was Esau to take the blessing his father offered his brother. And for that reason, Esau decided to kill him as soon as their father died, because of what he had to flee, advised by his mother, to the house of his uncle Laban. So, at that time started the journey of fleeing of Jacob. He had to flee from trouble. He had to flee from the consequences of his decision. He had to flee to be saved from what we thought it would be the end of his life. But despite all of that, God was with him, and God was saving him for what will happen later. Then Jacob arrived to Laban's house, and then he fell in love with one of Laban's daughters. Her name was Rachel, and he asked Laban to marry her. Laban told him he had to work for him 7 days to marry her. And then he worked those 7 years, not 7 days, 7 years, and after those 7 years, the wedding was celebrated. However, the morning after, he found out the woman he received was not Rachel, it was Leah, Rachel's elder sister. When he claimed Laban, he told him that there was a tradition. The first to be married has to be the elder sister, the elder daughter. But he didn't tell it before. So Jacob started to be deceived by his uncle. So, at that time started the journey of deceiving and being deceived that marked Jacob's life at that time. So Laban told him that if he still wanted to marry Rachel, he had to work for him another 7 years. Jacob was willing to do that. And in fact, he did that. And finally took both women and sisters as wives, what kept them, the sisters, in an eternal battle for Jacob's love. So at that time started another battle for Jacob, another struggle for Jacob. In that way, a struggle between her wives and sisters. So at that time, Jacob was fleeing from his brother, was being deceived from his uncle, and had to deal with his 2 wives and sisters. So that was the life of Jacob at that time. One day, Jacob asked Laban to have his own cattle, and they agreed to divide it. However, Jacob found a way to increase the amount of his cattle and his wealth, but Laban accused him of stealing him. Therefore, and advised by an angel in dreams, he decided to go without letting Laban know about it. Laban found Jacob, and they had a great argument, because obviously Laban was accusing Jacob of stealing him, and Jacob let Laban know that he didn't steal him, that his cattle was earned in a good way. And finally, they made a covenant, and Laban let him go in peace. So at that time, he won the battle against Laban. But there was still a fight to fight. There was still something to clear, to make clear. It was his fight or his struggle with his brother. So at that point, at the point the passage we read went through, Jacob was on his way to his reunion with Esau, and still thinking Esau wanted to kill him. So at that point, Jacob lived the experience presented in the text we read, and his name was changed from Jacob, the one who takes by the heel, or the one who supplants, to Israel, the one who fights with God. However, there's something we should understand. Jacob didn't really fight with God. He fought with his past. He fought with his fears. He fought with his insecurities. And he fought with everything he dealt with until that time. So we can understand that he didn't fight against God, but he fought with God by his side. Against everything was being an obstacle for getting his blessing. And when he defeated all of that, he got the blessing that became him the base and foundation of Israel, the chosen people of God. So that was the life of Jacob until that time. From then on, he became Israel, and he kept going with his life with the blessing of God, for again became one of that trilogy that became the base and foundation of Israel, the chosen people of God. This story is one of my favorites in the Bible. First of all, because of having the opportunity of seeing how Jacob had to fight against all odds, against the obstacles, against everything he found in his way for obtaining, for getting the blessing of God. This text shows us that sometimes we receive blessings from God without even asking for them. Sometimes we receive blessings from God after asking for them. But sometimes we have to fight for God's blessings. And this is one of my favorite texts in the Bible also, because I identify myself with the journey of Jacob. Because my life has also been a life of struggling with the circumstances I have found in my way, on my way in life. I was born and raised in a pastoral family. My father was a pastor, but he was an old school pastor. At the times, there were services, meetings, or other things in church almost 7 days of the week. And on Sundays, there were 2 services. One in the morning, the Sunday school service, and one in the evening. So practically my life in childhood and early youth was in church. But he was also an old school father, very strict, and who disciplined his children with a belt in his hands. So that was my childhood and early youth. But also, I had 2 sisters, 2 elder sisters. The elder one was the charismatic one. The charismatic personality. She was the pianist of the church. She had many friends. The other sister was Daddy's girl. Was the favorite one of my father. So I was the youngest one with the child personality and having not respect but fear of my father. I lived scared of my father because of his rude personality. So that's the way I was raised. And at the time, when I was 14, my father resigned the pastoral ministry. And days later, he talked to my sisters and me, and he told us these words. And I will quote them as I heard them. God forbid one of you guys will be an apostle. That's what my father told us. Nonetheless, 4 years later, my elder sister was accepted as candidate for ministry and started her theological education. Because what is impossible for the human being is possible for God, according to his plans and his purposes. But remember, I was the shy one. I was the one scared of my father. So those words were as law for me, as the tables of the law God gave Moses. And those words were in my mind and were in my heart. So I went to college, by the way, as far from home as possible. And I made my bachelor's degree in industrial engineering. So when I was just graduating, my father was diagnosed with cancer in his stomach. So the doctor suggested him to go to surgery. So when he was in surgery, we were in the waiting room. And there was a cousin of mine that was also a pastor. And we started to talk. He asked me, what are you doing? What are your plans? And I told him, well, I just graduated. I'm looking for a job. And then I will get the job and I will work as an engineer. And then he said, but you have a calling from God to be a pastor. You have a calling from God for pastoral ministry. And I got shocked. And I told him, what are you talking about? There are enough pastors in the family. There's my father, there's my sister, there's you. There are enough pastors in the family. I am good with what I study. And I'm good doing lay work in church. That's not for me. And then he ended the conversation. But those words kept in my mind and in my heart. And those words started to work in my heart and in my mind. Then later, my father passed away. And in his funeral, there was a pastor. Well, obviously, we're a group of pastors. But one of them that I always considered him my uncle. His name was Moises Rosa. Moises Rosa had the words in the funeral. And he talked about the times or the moments he spent time with my father in his office, because at one time he had a pastoral assignment. So he was attending the church. My father was a pastor. And at some of those moments, they talked about thinking or maybe dreaming about seeing me as a pastor. He told that in my father's funeral. And if I got shocked when I heard my cousin's words, I got more shocked, even more shocked, hearing the words from my uncle, because he never told me that. My father never told me that. They kept that from me. And at that moment, those words, Lord, ahead of me. But again, the human being has his plans, but God has his own plans. So I realized, indeed, I had a calling from God for pastoral ministry. But at that time, my struggles began. I asked my mother church for an endorsement to pastoral ministry. My mother church rejected that petition. And my mother church did it at some way, or at such way, that some people that watched me grow up, they thought of that calling for pastoral ministry. They told, you don't really have a calling for pastoral ministry. You want to be a pastor because your father was a pastor, and your father recently passed away, and you have that feeling. You are confused. And that thought kept in my mind. And indeed, I thought I was confused. So I left that church, and I went to another church. And I stayed in that church 10 years, thinking that indeed God didn't call me to pastoral ministry. But one day, 10 years later, I felt the desire of coming back to my mother church. And indeed, I did it. And 6 months later, I went to a retreat. And in one of the services, there was this evangelist that had the word. And after the word, he called for prayer. And many people asked for prayer. There was even a miracle of healing for a young woman. And God was speaking through him. When he came to me, he put my hands over my head. And the only words I remember, he told me, or God told me through him, you have a calling for pastoral ministry. So take off every fear and every doubt. I had fears, I had doubts until that moment. But God let me know there is not much more time for fears and doubts. So I realized again I had a calling for pastoral ministry. But summarizing it again, there were more struggles. And at that time, my mother church, they gave me the endorsement for pastoral ministry. But I had to go to the central level of the church, to the denomination. And it was the denomination that rejected my petition for pastoral ministry. So again, I asked God, what's going on? If you say you have a calling for pastoral ministry, why can't I be a pastor? And then again, I left that church. And I went to another church, to another denomination. I obviously have expectations for having that chance. But that church even doesn't consider my petition. So I received a reluctance to consider my petition. And I was struggling again with that reality. I was struggling again with the fact that the human being was an obstacle for God's purpose. And again, I thought, it will never happen. But people God put some people on the way for letting us know that He's still there. And God used a pastor, a professor in the seminary, and even he was the president of that seminary, a friend of us, Samuel Hagan, for being that instrument. And one day, I kept contact with him. And one day, I called him. And I asked him, did you know of any chance outside the island, outside Puerto Rico? And he told me, precisely, there's a church that is looking for a pastor. So I can contact him with them. And then he did that. And indeed, at that moment, 24 years after the moment I realized God called me for pastoral ministry, I received that first opportunity. And that time, I also knew Pastor Vicente. Two years later, I finished that assignment in that church. And at that time, many people thought my ministry was over. Even one pastor told me once that many people in Puerto Rico were waiting for my failure. So at that time, maybe he thought, indeed, those people in Puerto Rico are seeing his failure. Many people thought my ministry was over. But God let me know my ministry wasn't over. God let me know my ministry isn't over. Because it's not what the humans say, it's what God says. And here's Pastor Vicente for bringing Isabel and me to this church and letting us know that there's still ministry, that there's still work to do. And thanks of that, we are here. And through all that process of life, like Jacob, I fought with my fears. I fought with my insecurities. I fought with the reluctance of the human to give me the chance of working in the ministry God told me. But indeed, I fought with God by my side. And when I defeated all of that, I got the blessing of being a minister of Jesus Christ with my flaws, my limitations, and my weaknesses. Because that's the truth in life. That's the reality. Many people and many churches expect pastors to be flawless. Like one of the songs we sung. People expect pastors to be flawless. But people expect pastors to be perfect. People expect pastors to be saints. That's not true. Even that expression, that pastors are the angels of the church. No, pastors are not angels. Pastors are human. Flesh, with flaws, with limitations, with weaknesses. And we are all of that for the glory of the God who told Paul, remember of the thorn Paul had in his flesh. And he asked God told him, "My grace is enough for you, for my power is perfected in weakness." So, as Apostle Paul said, "Therefore I am well content with weaknesses, with insults, with great distresses, with persecutions, and with difficulties. For Christ's sake, for when I am weak, I am strong." So it's not a matter of being perfect. It's not a matter of being saint. It's not a matter of not struggling. On the contrary, it is a matter of being anointed to fight till dawn for God's blessings. So again, there are blessings we receive from God without even asking Him for them. There are blessings we receive from God after asking Him for them. And there are blessings we have to fight to receive them. So I ask you now, what blessings you have to fight for? What are your struggles? Are you struggling with something? Are you struggling with life? With how hard is life? And it's even harder